Hey, so now let's talk about my 12 days in the hospital. I'm planning to cut these on several videos so they don't go on too long. So on Thursday, June 21st, Heather took me to the ER because of the cold chill that I got in the morning. And as I said before, Heather called my chemo doctor and he was able to call ahead to the ER and let them know I was coming and let them advise them beforehand of the treatments I have been receiving so they have a great heads up. Once I got there, the staff got to work right away. They had to take multiple examples of my blood. Now, when I say that, it's not your typical little tubes that you will see when you get a physical blood work done. These are like small jars about like this size. And I guess how I compare would be the little bottles of alcohol that you will see at hotels or whatever. But it was quite a bit. It wasn't just like a couple of tubes, it was at least 5 or 6 little jars of blood that they got. And the strange thing was that when they were taking the blood out of my vein, I could hear the blood dripping inside the glass bottle. So that was a little creepy. At this time, I remember let's see what was I. Oh yeah, this time I remember that I was extremely exhausted. First they had to figure out what was wrong. So the first thing they tried to do was research what a possible infection was. That's why they were taking so much blood samples. Since I got that PICC line, as I mentioned earlier, on Tuesday, which was 2 days ago when I was admitted to the hospital, they were maybe speculating that was the cause. The infection could have came from having the PICC line put in. So they had to take blood samples from both arms. My left, which didn't have the PICC line on, and also the right, from both arms. So there was a lot of blood drawn from my body just immediately when I was in the hospital. Also, at the same time, there was a lot of pain for my throat. They were also working on getting me pain meds to make me feel better from that. I remember when I was sitting upright on the hospital bed, something felt heavy on my chest. At this time, there was already lines of fluid in the IV all over me, and I have the hospital gown on, and I felt like some kind of pressure was like right around here. And first I thought it was just maybe the lines from the IV or just my hospital gown, but it was just weird, just like a pressure sensation, not too hard, it wasn't painful, it was just like around my, I guess the collarbone here. So the nurse was able to give me some kind of like nerve calming meds, and pretty soon I forgot about this pressure. So it calmed me down a bit. I'm pretty sure by that time the pain meds kicked in too. And now, after all the blood was drawn, the nurse told me that they would have to grow something. If there was like from the bacteria or whatever, I can't quite remember now. But if it was something infectious, it would take about 3 days for that to grow. And once they figure out what that is, they would know how to treat it. They also started me with fluids by this point, because the nurse, he explained that if it was some kind of infection, the infection can turn my blood acidic, which would make it septic. So they would have to get ahead of that just in case. So the fluid can balance out my blood and make the acidic blood, if it comes to that, more balanced or neutral by this point. We didn't know at the time, because when I was in hospitals from June 21st to July 2nd for a total of 12 days. Or straight 12 days, because Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Monday before that, I was in the hospital for quite a bit too, but just not consecutively. Like I didn't have to stay from Monday to Wednesday, which from that Thursday to 12 days to the following Monday, or not following Monday, to the Monday of July 2nd. But we didn't know at the time, but good thing they did start the fluids, because a few days later we did find out it was an infection. And it was a great thing that they did the fluids, or otherwise I would end up in the ICU. And also it was a great thing that I went to the ER on the morning of the 21st, and I didn't wait for my condition to get worse before I went to the ER. Now, since they were suspecting infection, my PICC line had to be removed. my PICC line was long too. It went from about well, I think you still see the hole. It was from here. It went all the way inside, and I believe all the way down to probably by my lung or my heart, but it was quite long. And my attending nurse in the ER had never removed a PICC line before, so he had to find out how to do that. He was a very nice guy, a very nice person, by the way. Heather and I were glad to have him there. And removal of the PICC line was not bad at all. I didn't even feel the line coming out of that little hole on my arm. But I'm thinking maybe because by this time they gave me quite a bit of pain meds and I wasn't feeling much of anything, even if there was pain. And maybe the nurse, well, he made a comment, maybe he was just really good at his first time removing the PICC line. Well, I can't remember all the doctors that came in, but there were quite a few. We just had to see where I was going to get admitted in the hospital at this time, because I went in about 10 o'clock or 9:45 to 10, and it wasn't about until maybe 2 p.m. to figure out where I was going to go. It was either oncology or the ICU. They just have wherever they have space. So 2 p.m. So we waited about 7 hours, and I wasn't moved to oncology, the oncology section of the hospital, until 9:30ish that night. And well, this is where I'm gonna stop the video, and I'll continue on to the next one. And when I'm actually in oncology, where I'm supposed to be at the hospital.